You know what?
Frozen or pause? There you go.
No, sorry. You know what? I watched the first episode and beginning of the second episode last night. I don't think you and I have ever talked about this show, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I've seen Cobra Kai.
Okay, it's last season is up on the
I know.
Netflix. Did you watch it?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did.
So the quality of the show, not in subject matter or dialogue, that's still on par. But I noticed a real drop in production value
Yeah,
in this last season. So I kind of think it was one of those things of like last season might not have done that great, and they're like, all right, you can come back and wrap this up, but you got to do it at like half the budget.
I think noticeably so I know in the plot. I mean, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but there's a big
Yeah.
karate tournament in Barcelona, I think.
Oh,
But then
okay.
it gets moved to the Valley because
Of course it
it's a
does.
Karate Kid thing, so that's where
Yeah.
everything has to happen in the Valley.
Yeah. Hill
And
Valley.
it's so it just they've done tournaments there in other
Yeah.
seasons,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And they're so it's such smaller scale
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
where to go from like, wow, we're this big international tournament, we're fighting karate kids from all over the world. Oh man. And now we're just gonna go back to the gym we all hang out in, and there's gonna be like 50 people watching.
Ooh.
Um, it does, but I like it. I like the show. I didn't think
Yeah. I'm still
because I
enjoying.
hate bad guy redemption plots.
Yeah.
But I think weirdly this handled it in a much uh, more mature and interesting way for me than your favorite movie, Cruella, that you said because you also want to murder puppies. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to pull the clip from last week.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
that's
you
I.
said you want to
Yeah.
make a coat out of puppies, so that's
Yeah.
why you love Cruella so much, and that's why you think she's the good guy, actually.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't. When I heard Cobra Kai, I was like, I don't want to watch the Johnny Lawrence redemption story. It is also there's a running bit on How I Met Your Mother
Yes.
where Neil Patrick Harris thinks Johnny Lawrence is the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Like he misunderstands the movie because he's such an idiot and a bad person. So he sides with the bad guy. He's like, well, yeah, that's the karate. That's the kid who does karate the best. Um, and it's like, God, they just made that joke a show.
And it was a Funny or Die video, I believe. I think maybe it was either College Humor or Funny or Die back in the day where they did that before the hot. I think the How I Met Your. I could be completely fucking wrong. I don't know any of these facts well enough to even know if they are
Yeah,
facts.
state things confidently, whether you know them or not. That's the
Hey,
middle-aged white
that's
man way, baby.
grow a mustache, get some stubble, yell at the moon. I think
Heck
that's what
yeah.
I'm gonna call my next album is Yell at the Moon. Ricky Glore yells at the moon. And just be like,
Do you want
"Arr!"
to drop that hot
hot the
intro?
hot theme. Yeah, the last thing I was gonna say is I think what works for the Johnny Lawrence, it not being a fully completely like a redemptive thing,
Is
obviously
that he's still a piece of shit the entire time?
that and he had his redemption in the first movie. Right? He is redeemed. He understands that Kreese is a piece of shit. Like
Right, but
in
he's
one and
not still
two.
the villain at the end of the movie, if I
Yes. And
remember
so it's
correctly.
not yes, it's not a
I'm not a Karate
redemptive.
Kid diehard, but like Kreese is the bad guy, not Johnny. Johnny's
Yeah,
just the tool the bad guy is using. I think that is why I was more open to like,
I agree.
let's see what this kid's got going on internally. You know?
Man, it's crazy that we're talking about Cobra Kai, we're talking about karate, and then this hot, hot theme song just lands on our doorstep.
Wow,
I mean,
incredible.
yeah, so you ready? Y'all ready for this?
Drop it as if it were hot.
Hot?
When you get to heaven and the gates open wide, you will see a comedy show that's going on inside. There's a 2-drink minimum and overpriced food. A house MC on stage who is not very good. Complimentary tickets if you like ventriloquists. 2 free Thursday or Sunday passes for a mediocre hypnotist. But I guess that's redundant, because they're all just the same. I've never seen a good hypnotist. They are all pretty lame. So when you get to heaven and you wanna see a show, I know the perfect place. It's a comedy club called Daddy-O. Daddy-O! Oh yes, Lord. Tell the jokes, Lord. Daddy-O. Save my soul, Lord, with jokes from a Daddy-O. Daddy-O. Save my soul, Lord, with jokes from a Daddy-O. And if I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take me to the Daddy-O show.
Well done.
Yeah. Oh, actually, the theme song had nothing to do with Karate Kid or Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
I forgot, but
Pretty unrelated.
there was not a.
There
an
was not a
actual
ton of
segue.
stuff about the Lord in Cobra Kai.
No,
Or
there's.
Karate Kid. It's been a while since I think I watched the first Karate Kid around the first season of Cobra Kai to be like, I know I've seen it, I know the
Mhm.
plot,
Yeah.
but it's been a while since but then it's like, oh, I should watch the other ones. Like, no, no, you shouldn't.
I did not dig those as movies, and every time I say to somebody if they're unfamiliar or haven't watched Cobra Kai, I'm like, hey, do you watch Cobra Kai? And they're like, no, I didn't really care for those movies. I was like, me either. But I was like, Cobra Kai scratches that like corny itch of like, I
Yeah.
just love the positivity of everybody. Ultimately,
It's so fucking goofy.
yes.
That's genuinely what I like about it. Of like, they're all taking everything so very seriously, but it's like, guys, you're just doing karate at your little karate school. It's what are
When
you
just
talking about?
with a little bit of training,
Relax,
they
Blue
become
Beetle.
yeah, Karate Kid masters. Well, there's the if I have one criticism, because I don't think we should talk about anything without criticizing it, is
How dare we?
there is a considerable so besides the production value dropping, holy shit, do these kids look like 40-year-olds?
Oh, well, that's part of just that they got older faster than the timeline of the show,
Yes.
where it's like, go back. So you just finished it. Go back and watch episode 1. It's like, no, I mean, yeah, children, but it's like it took so long to get
4
2
years,
years
yeah.
into story that now they're all just like, I don't
Robbie-
know, man. I gotta retire next month.
I think Robbie looks the closest to what he looked like at the beginning, but then everybody else, especially the girls, just I don't know what it is. Like Peyton List, I think, is the one actress's name, and
I've
the one
not bothered learning any character or any actor names.
the girl who
I know
plays
the one kid's Blue Beetle.
yeah, the girl who plays LaRusso's daughter. She, I think, has considerably changed in her
The
looks
other-
as well.
The mean one, the mean girl.
Yeah, that's Peyton List.
Okay, so I've seen her in other things
Yeah, she's popped a little bit.
lately.
Yeah.
And then Blue Beetle went on to star in Blue Beetle, and
What's that movie about?
oh well, so you know Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
What if one was blue though?
Holy shit! Like, what if Ringo Starr to bring back up? So now Beatles will be part of our our
Well,
running.
I forget. I forget that Blue Beetle's name. OG Blue Beetle, Ted Cord, was like
Oh.
the DC Iron Man, but not very good. It was like he's a funny character in the comics of like, he's this rich maniac who's like, I'm going to build this cool armor suit and I'm going to be a superhero. But he's not particularly good at it. So like, he's in the Justice League, but he's like bottom tier. He's friends with a guy from the future who just came back and used the fact that like he has some future tech and knows what's going to happen to try to be a superhero, but he's also like not smart. Like he doesn't remember history well enough
Oh,
for
that's
that
great.
plan to be like. So it's Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. Anytime those
Oh, Booster
fools-
Gold. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Booster Gold. I forget what sport he plays. There's some future sport he plays.
Yeah.
And then he comes back. So like he can fly. He has a rough idea of the history of the timeline, and he's like, I can help. And he's like, oh, actually, I kind of just want to be famous and have everyone tell me they love me.
Actually,
it's like-
I'm dumb.
Yeah, it's
The Ricky
they're my
Glore
favorite.
story.
Yeah.
The more time
They're
you
some of
spend
my
with me.
favorite DC characters. But the Blue Beetle movie with Miguel from Cobra Kai, it is.
Yeah.
When I was in college, they brought back the character Blue Beetle with a different person in the suit, and it was a different. So Ted Kord like built his Blue Beetle shit, right? His Iron Man style.
Yeah, yeah.
The Cobra Kai kid's Blue Beetle has like a magic space tech thing from.
Okay.
I guess I forget the exact details, but like Ted Kord was trying to find this thing, whatever. He gets got in a DC storyline, and then so there's no more Blue Beetle. This kid finds this like magic scarab from space thing, and then he's Blue Beetle now.
And
then I think Ted Kord came back. I don't know.
it's like
I'm not up with.
so it
current-
sounds a little bit like Iron Man / Ant-Man.
What do
like
you mean?
with-
Because his
like-
one is like a bug. Well,
No, because like the original dude, like Hank Pym, and then it becomes Scott. Is Scott Lang the
it's more
second
like
or the
Greatest
third?
American Hero, actually.
A Greatest American Hero, amazing theme song, but a
Believe it or
show
not.
that I think they tried redoing it
They
once.
talk about it every couple of years.
Yeah, that is one of those properties that I was like, I think the concept is better than the actual
Right.
show was.
Well, the kid, so Cobra Kai Miguel gets this scarab thing. It is like
Mhm.
a space tech thing, but like he doesn't know how to control it. So that's the comparison to a Greatest American Hero
Mm.
of like, if bad guys start attacking him, the suit will defend itself, but he can't initiate and like do stuff. He doesn't know.
Terrifying. Yeah.
And it's pretty neat. Not a great movie, but a fun movie. He was pretty good in it.
George Lopez, to mention
George
a
Lopez.
comedian.
Should have gotten Best Supporting Actor nom. He was so good and funny in that movie.
Real, like you're not being.
No, I'm being genuine.
Okay.
George Lopez kicked ass in that movie.
I heard he was good in it, but I didn't know if you were being facetious.
No, for real. I
For
don't
real,
remember
real.
what year that was, so I don't know who he would have been up against. But
Handful a year ago, so not too many.
he should have
years.
gotten it. Also, Patrick Wilson should have gotten Best Supporting Actor for the 2010 A-Team movie, even though that sucks.
What was Patrick Wilson in the 2010 18
He was
movie? Was he the
Lynch.
bad guy? Oh,
Yeah.
Huh.
Which I don't love. So Lynch was
Yeah.
one of the generals chasing the A-Team. In the movie, I guess it's a running bit that like when CIA people don't want to tell you their real name, they just tell you I'm Agent Lynch. And it's Patrick Wilson. So he is like the bad guy who sets into motion the plan that gets the A-Team framed for not robbing the Bank of Hanoi because they're in, I think, Iraq, not
Yeah, you
Vietnam.
gotta update it. Yeah,
which makes sense. I understand that, but I don't like it. I rewatched it. I don't like it. It's not a good movie. It misses the spirit of the A-Team by a country mile.
Mhm.
The guy, the guy,
Bradley Cooper.
yes,
Liam Neeson?
Bradley Cooper as Face could not have picked a better actor in 2010 to play Face in an A-Team movie. You nailed it. The guy from District 9 is Murdoch,
Okay.
but he is playing 80s TV show Murdoch, and this is a
Mm.
2010 Liam Neeson action movie, so it just doesn't work.
Just
but
comes
it's
off
like-
highly offensive.
Quentin Brunson, Quentin Rampage Jackson, maybe
Okay.
the BA.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a legit MMA fighter and like would rip your arms off like a Wookiee. Is legitimate, very tough. But I think was lacking kind of
Charisma.
the duality of Mr. T. Of a thing I love on the A Team is when someone punches Mr. T and then immediately realizes I should not have done this because Mr. T barely reacts and then just knocks them out.
Yeah.
It's great because I think there's an episode in season 3 where there's like a much bigger goon that at the base that they're trying to break into,
Mhm.
and Mr. T punches that guy, and then he does the thing where he doesn't react, and you see Mr. T kind of be like, "Oh no!" and
Oh, this is what it's like to be on the other end of.
yeah,
Oh
it's
no!
such a good payoff for like a thing that happens pretty regularly on the show is now you're seeing the opposite, and this guy just absolutely beats BA's ass, and it's
So
great.
BA
It's great for laughs because like the rest of the team is like dealing with other shit, and they're like, "Hey, you got it? Are you good? Are you okay? We'll check in."
Yeah, I'm gonna be okay.
And
Let me.
he's getting
Yep.
destroyed.
Oh
I love
no.
Mr. T so much.
BA
Also,
Baracus
Liam
stands
Neeson
for
is in it. Bad attitude.
bad attitude. Okay, I didn't know if it was
For the
bad.
Tiny
Okay,
League.
it's badass Baracus. Is that?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything else.
No, it's
Okay.
badass. Bad
Bad
attitude, but
And so Liam
also,
Neeson.
the film does feature Liam Neeson. He's there. They made his hair white and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He is in that film.
But just doesn't bring the
no,
charisma of George Papard.
He's walking through and cashing a paycheck. I mean, good on him. I like Liam Neeson. He could have been great. This is 2010. Apparently, I found out from Tristan Miller when I was talking about it with him. Kind of a dark time in Liam Neeson's life. So whatever you got to do to get through. Yeah, he's just like doing movies to distract himself.
Yeah,
like, yeah, man. Whatever you got to do. I'm not mad at you, Liam Neeson.
I ain't mad at you.
The movie's terrible. The movie's
Liam
bad.
Neeson, I ain't mad at you.
Jessica Biel is in it, but is bad in it. Patrick Wilson is incredible. It is
good actor. I don't like him. I don't like him in the Conjuring movies, but I also just don't care for the Conjuring.
I don't
movies.
give a shit about the Conjuring movies.
Yeah.
He is so good as like a bureaucratic dickhead who's like, "Oh, I came up with a little plan. This is going to be so easy because I'm such a cool." And it like everything keeps going wrong, and he's like so annoyed. He's like, "I don't understand." He's so funny in it.
He's almost if Will Arnett was a better actor.
Yeah. It is kind of that Will Arnett thing that I don't really like when Will Arnett does it. But yeah, I think it is because like I don't know. I love Patrick Wilson in the A-Team movie.
I love Patrick Wilson, and even though I'm not a big Zack Snyder fan, Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of everybody in that top to bottom.
I do not care for Mr. Snyder or his work. Genuinely like that movie. I understand there are flaws.
Yeah, it is one of the few times in a movie theater that if the movie had gone on for another hour at the same quality and pace that the rest of the movie, the other 3 hours leading up to it had been, I'd been fine with it. I was eating my popcorn. I was into it. I was like, "Yup, let's."
I was having a great. They just did the 2-part animated Watchmen, and I don't think I finished the second part.
Biffed it.
I don't like the style.
Yeah, that's hard.
And that's hard. It's hard to get over. It's like I think we talked about Peep Show the one week, and it's just like I don't like the POV stuff. Just I can't get over it, and like it's all I'm thinking about is that guy's staring a camera 6 inches from his face to make it look like he's talking to me directly. Yeah. There's Nickel Boys, the Oscar-nominated film, does the same thing. It's all shot in POV. It's like, okay, well, I'm not watching it. I find it so off-putting. It's like eye contact, honestly, where I hate that. I hate doing eye contact with people.
Look at me.
To have to do eye contact with all the characters for a whole movie. No, thank you. Yuck. But I do hear Nickel Boys is good. So if you aren't put off by POV or having to make eye contact with actors on screen, give it a watch.
I had shows in Michigan last weekend. Same place Friday and Saturday. My papa came up with
papa.
hung out with my papa.
I saw that clip.
Oh man, Buddy's Pizza. Tell you what, some good fucking pizza.
The
Probably
worst
my
pizza I've
favorite
ever
pizza.
had is in Michigan.
What was it?
Mr. Pizza in Grand Rapids. You know what you did, Howard.
Was it bad because they didn't make it well, or was there something that like
It was every conceivable thing.
how? How did like I've had pizza that I've not liked because maybe toppings or something, but the general formation of pizza, like even bad pizza, I'm like, yeah, it's still pizza. What was it that made it bad?
It's been a couple years, but
You're the
the dough
booster
is
gold. You're the booster gold of pizza telling stories.
the dough is bad, like
Mhm.
too thick, almost Sicilian thick, but
Mm.
a triangle slice. So you just have way too much dough
Oh yeah,
because you don't know how to stretch it out.
no, thank you.
Sauce,
Garbage.
unappealing. So much cheese, but
Too much
not
cheese.
hot. Like it was slightly above room temperature when it was served to me. And it's like, yeah, do you kind of want to chomp through an inch and a half of slightly above room temperature cheese
No.
before trying to gnaw your way through 2 inches of dough?
Man, and that's
I
what
hate you,
Buddy's
Mr. Pizza.
Detroit style pizza, cooking it in that pan, like the official pan. The when we got there, we did ask somebody because I couldn't remember. I was talking up to my dad about the one time I was in Detroit and we tried their chili, um, 3 different locations. Comedy friend and I, Billy DeVore, the Detroit style chili is garbage, and I was happy to tell all of Michigan that their chili is garbage and Cincinnati
okay.
chilies. Yeah. But then we had pizza,
Is it
and I
because they
had
don't put it on spaghetti and that hurt your feelings?
no, it's because it's bland hot flour mix, like just like brown
Like ground
gravy
wheat or like daisies?
flour. Yes,
Okay.
like flour, like roses.
Yeah. I don't know.
Uh,
I don't fucks with chili. So
It's just bland, just no bueno, no good. But there's this big like 2 plate. I can't even think of the places. They're came from Coney Island. That's why they're called Coney's. And in Detroit downtown, there's 2 chili places next to one another. They had this long-standing rival. We went
do
into
they
the
kiss?
one. They do kiss, and I think it's all a conspiracy. I think they're run by the same person. I think it's all marketing and
Oh, it's
propaganda.
like the cheesesteak guys in Philly. It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
is that
we all
a
we all
thing?
know what you're doing.
I didn't. I'm unaware of that.
The two that everyone's like, oh, you go to this one or this one. No one gives a shit. Those are like bottom tier cheesesteak places in Philly.
Okay. That I mean I think that is what it is. So like we went into the one and they were like, we each get a Coney, and we tried it and we didn't say anything and then we left and Billy was like, that was garbage. I was like, yeah, I was like, that was not good. And then we went to the next place and we're like, we just came from over there, like, oh, this is gonna be so much better, so much better. Got it, just as bad. Like just as bland. And they're like, isn't that better? We're like, yeah. And then we went to Lapeer where we were doing a show, and there was
French
another
pier.
Lapeer.
Lucky.
Zapier. There was another chili place, and we were telling people there, we tried these 2 places, and they're just like, oh yeah, no, that's no good, that's no good. This is the best. This is the best Detroit style chili, and we're like, okay, tried it, just as bland, just as like not good. Just we're like, who's ordering this? Like, and why? But so
Michiganders, baby.
before we left, we had Detroit style pizza on that trip, and I was like, well, this has got to be better than their chili. And holy smokes, like if you've ever had Jets pizza, that is Detroit style pizza.
Yeah, I've had Jets pizza.
But what
I'm down
Jets-
I'm down with most styles of pizza.
yeah, like I said,
It's just this the
Too much dough.
It wasn't Detroit style, Mr. Pizza.
Right.
It was just bad pizza.
Mr. Pizza style.
Mr. Pizza, and you think, I mean, God, it's your name, man. You should be better at this.
Well, but when you name that and you're born into the pizza family, and it's just like you're expected to make pizza,
Right.
it's like that's a lot of pressure. And you
It's
want to
like
be
the
different.
Producer of the Bond films is like, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be dedicating my life to vegetables.
But so then we had, I couldn't remember the pizza place that we had, but it's better than Jets, actual Detroit style. where they cook it in the pan, and like
Mhm.
the cheese is like this gooey, like
Get
cartoon
that goo,
movie
baby.
cheese. Oh, so fucking good.
Goo it up,
But
daddy.
so when we were up there, I was just like, okay, I don't remember what the place was, but I'll ask. And I said, okay, what's the Detroit style pizza that's the best here? And someone's like, Jets. And I was just like, no, we can get Jets anywhere.
No, it's not.
I was like, it's not Jets. And they're like, well, it's an opinion.
Jets
And I
is a
was just
great
like, well, you're
example
wrong.
of like, it's fine pizza.
It's fine. But then I was like,
if I'm in Michigan, yeah, I'll get a Jets. That's fine.
and I was
I'm
like,
not
well, you
gonna
can get it in
recommend to
Cincinnati.
people.
You can get it many other places.
You can't get it in Jersey, or at least not where I'm at,
Mm.
because we're too
But-
busy having the best pizza in the world. That's right, New York. Huff my farts. Jersey pizza's better.
I'm willing to try your Jersey pizza. I do not believe it will beat Buddy's Detroit style pizza.
I don't know any Jersey places that do Detroit style. I'm sure it exists.
No. I'm not. I don't need someone in New
No.
Jersey to do Detroit style. I need Jersey to do what. What's your style? Like, what is the makeup of that?
Oh, it's it's when you make pizza good and correctly. It's a circle for one.
Sure.
Circle, pretty thin slice. It's what people think of as New York pizza. But
It's like
we
a big
just do
piece
it-
that you fold.
we just do it better. Yeah, you fold it up, yum 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 yum, and then
Mm.
you have a lot of them.
So then I asked. I was like, no, it's not Jets. And the
Pizza
woman
Town,
I was
USA,
talking
baby.
to, she was like, oh, Papa John's, and I slapped her. And
I committed a crime.
I committed a crime and I am on the lam now. I was very abusive. And I said, with my words, I said, no, not that garbage racist pizza. And then finally someone's like, are you talking about Buddies? And I was like, I think I am. And I told my dad about it. Me and my daddy, we went and ate it. My daddy-o. And so good. Just amazing.
Delightful.
So the two shows that I did up there was at the same place, and the inn that I stayed at on the lake, they run a couple of theaters in town, and I think would be interested in having the Daddy-O tour.
Sick.
Coming
Let's get some
in
Buddy's
and playing.
pizza.
We get some Buddy's Pizza, and they'll put us up at this inn, which was a great room. But the one thing we did experience was so like when my dad comes and does a trip, I don't have a lot of disposable time anymore with having a circus that I run.
Sure.
And we bring up a Blu-ray player, and because like him and I aren't like hitting up the town and like going out drinking afterwards or doing anything,
Right.
we have a Blu-ray player and we sit in the hotel room and we watch movies all day, and then go to do the show, come back, watch more movies. This was a very nice place, the Inn at the Waterfront, I think it might have been called. I was not expecting, and I have stayed at some shitholes, not unlike the nice place I think you're at right now with the yellow curtain.
Yeah, I'm in Winona, Minnesota right now.
Winona, Minnesota. I love a rhiming
a
city.
budget motel that my friend is paying for on my behalf because I drove him here.
Very nice.
Yeah, my friend Tristan is fleeing the country after committing terrible crimes.
After hitting a woman for saying Papa John's.
I'm aiding and abetting his escape. So I drove him here. And he's staying at his parents' house. But he's like, you probably don't want to stay at my parents' house. And I was like,
You're like, God, no.
I mean, probably not. But I mean, look in your heart. Take
I
what
needs
you know
I
about
needs
me.
my time by
I've not been-
myself.
I don't know your parents. I've never been to their home. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
lovely. But look in your heart and use the information you know about me, your friend Glenn Tickle.
And I
would
don't wanna
genuinely
get-
let you decide if you think I would be comfortable doing that. He's like, you would not. And I was like, okay, a hotel, please.
Glenn Tickle also doesn't want to ruin a comedy trip by getting all horned up and turned on by one of your parents or both of your parents.
Hey, the Millers, very attractive couple. They did have a kitty cat, which an animal lover, but cats are the stinkiest animal you could keep in your home.
Okay.
And
Depending.
it does-
We have
I
a
wanna be
cat.
very
Pretty
clear.
clean.
I want to be very clear to my new friend, Herb, and Tristan. I forget your mom's name. I'm very sorry.
Mrs. Miller.
Your home did not smell like your cat. Your cat was
Cat
very
piss.
nice. The
Uh-huh.
cat's name is Roland. he let me pet them, and they were all pretty surprised that he let me do that. But
Ooh, ooh, he must like you.
man.
Ooh. I
Well,
love that
I did tell
when
Roland
people
that
do that with cats, people
Yeah.
get so excited. They're just like, "Oh my god, Mr. Scratchin' Puss usually doesn't let anybody touch him."
Yeah. Well, it's because Roland knew that I'm a friend to the animals. He had a little bow tie on. I told him I liked his bow tie. We're best friends now. But yeah, it's like I don't know. You could sleep on the couch at my parents' house. He's like, or I'll cover a hotel while we're in town. Like, yeah, do
Yeah.
that one. Obviously.
Yeah. I'm down
Um,
for that.
But he's like, it's probably easier if you just book the hotel than just tell me how much to give you afterwards. And I was like, it would be easier. And then when I was like, oh, I'm not gonna.
$1,000.
I'll go on the lower end of the
Yeah.
hotel scale to save my friends some.
But when is the
because they're
last time
trying to
you
move out of the country?
I don't know if you had this at the budget. When is the last time that you've had this in a seedier or not swanky motel, hotel, Holiday Inn? We were at a nice place, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, are awoken to our neighbors hillbilly fighting, and I haven't had that in a dump of a place, let alone a nice place.
Well, I think
And
that's
I was
irrelevant of the
upset.
place. That is on
Yes.
the people doing it. That maniacs can book a Hampton Inn too. You know.
Oh, a Hampton. I love your pool for. I mean, look, I agree. I fucks with a Hampton because Hamptons are nice and their breakfast in the morning and their coffee is solid.
Correct. On all fronts. Proud Hilton Honors member over here. If I'm booking a room for myself, I'm looking at first search is a Hampton Inn.
Agreed. Because most hotel, motel, Holiday Inns coffees are trash.
Yeah, like I don't want to dox myself, but the one I'm sipping on. So we're not live streaming right now, are we? This is just gonna
Nah.
come out on Friday.
Yeah.
Super 8 in Winona, your coffee's trash.
Yeah, and it's gonna be trash because you're drinking it out of a styrofoam cup.
Yep, never a good sign.
Never a good sign. Oh man. Did you guys perform yet, or are you guys?
No, we were doing a show tonight.
Okay.
It is a homecoming / going away show for Tristan.
Oh, okay. I was getting ready to shit on that show. I don't know.
No, it should be fun. I don't know.
Okay.
So we left Monday morning, loaded up my car, which I talk about on stage. I drive a Honda Fit, and it is a thing where if I'm giving like boots on the ground practical advice to young comedians, it's like, guys, you can't beat the Honda Fit for a car that gets 40 miles to the gallon that you can fit so much crap into. It is I've had I've a 2017, so I've had it for a while. I have a lot of miles on it. Very few issues over the time. We were averaging like 41 miles per gallon on the drive out here.
Hell yeah.
My friend put all his worldly possessions in the back of it. All we had to do was fold the seats down. I like my car a lot, but they stopped making them in the U.S. a couple years ago. So when it goes, I don't know when we replace it with.
Just
I have
another
time.
economy car.
It's like I said, it's a well-regarded vehicle. I'm at 170,000 miles.
Damn, Gina.
Something like that.
Because you be doing Minnesota drives.
Yeah, this is my third time in Minnesota this year.
Oof.
It's because I make bad choices. In Minnesota, I love.
Or you make bad friends. I don't.
No. So a lot of I was explaining the list stuff to Tristan on the drive out,
And he was like, I don't like any of this. He's like, you shouldn't talk about this.
but they were like, I told them about the conversation with Vito of like, you asked me 100 questions the last 45 minutes. I haven't asked you a single thing. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, you've been asking me stuff. And I was like, Tristan's because I love you. You're my friend and I care about you genuinely. It is not well because like when I talk about like I don't ask people questions about them. It is it's like oh yeah I don't ask questions. I don't care what the answers are, and I know that's bad. I know that makes me look bad. That's
I
why
don't
I'm
think that's
trying to
bad.
get better. It is. It is. It is. I should care about others, but I don't. And uh,
But you just explained that you
I
do
want
care
to.
about
I
people that
want
you
to in
care
my heart.
about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I drove Tristan
So,
halfway across the country.
but why
Uh,
should you care about others? Like, there's a difference between not caring about others and like napalming small villages and just being like, I don't fucking care who lives there. Like, if you don't know somebody, then should you
there is
care
just a
about them?
baseline level of
Okay.
disinterest on my part. I would love to
Same.
be more curious about other people and their lives, but nearly 42 years now of experience, if people start talking to me about their job, it's boring, and I don't care.
I
So
it
reading
shows
like
you've come to
yeah,
see us. You want to hear me and I'm going to entertain you. If I am engaging with you, audience member, it's because I want to use it for my benefit,
we seem
not to
so
get to know
unlikable
you.
right now
No,
to the audience. They're
I'm
like,
wearing a look.
they're like, I liked these guys
What up,
for
party people? You
14
can't
episodes, but a bridge too far.
you you cannot dislike a person that wearing a bluey shirt at 9:41 a.m.
Yeah, or a stripy sweater that he's been wearing for 3 days.
Oh, and you're talking about people with cat stink? You
It's
smell like a
cold. I
sock
have a
right
shirt
now.
on underneath it. I changed the t-shirt on under here. Sweater goes back on because I'm a little chilly, and I turned the
Oh,
heater off.
my little the wall unit. That
I
was
turned
the
I turned the heater off
giveaway that you were
because
at a
it's so
budget.
loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the one up against the bottom of the window
Uh-uh.
that we all know and love. No, no, no,
It's
that
not the
boy.
fake. It's not the fake out where they've updated their conditioning system, and so you go to the unit that's underneath the window and you flip open the panel, and it's like
Yeah, and it's
tee
like
hee tee hee. It's on the wall
you
now.
got to
You
control
can't
this
do
on the
that here.
wall.
Yeah. And then they scamp away the little wood nymphs.
Yeah. But I was explaining the list stuff to Tristan
Yeah.
and on how it's like, well, the goal is genuinely to be a better person at the end of figuring out this hour of stand-up comedy. But when Tristan was like, well, you've been asking me stuff. It's like, friend, I am literally driving you halfway across the country as a favor. Like, we're doing this show to justify the trip, but honestly, I'd have done it, you know? Please, friends who are watching or listening, do not assume. Do not assume you were at this tier. I drove down to Florida for you, bud.
Oh, that's true. You did. You did drive down to Florida.
But
We're going to be doing a whole lot of driving that weekend. That we're doing the run of what is it? 3 Pennsylvania shows.
yeah,
I was looking
I
at the
think one
drive.
might be East Ohio.
Oh, you're right. That might be the Friday one.
Yeah,
The traveling is going to be real interesting.
it's gonna be a lot of driving around, which is a thing
Yeah.
I genuinely like.
Me too. And that's
Um,
the sad part is I don't know how we are going to do it together in a way that would make sense.
So when we were talking about dates, we're going to be at the Emmaus Theater on May 18th, which is I added that on to the shows that Chris booked.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're already not that it's another long drive, but it's like, well, Ricky's already going to be in Pennsylvania from Kentucky. So even though it's the other side of Pennsylvania, if we can do this night, it'll work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like we're coming from opposite directions. The first 2 shows are pretty close, but then it's like, well, if I meet you somewhere in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Then we go do the first show, second show together, drive out, do the Emmaus. It's like, well, I could, I guess, drive back across Pennsylvania with you, get my car from wherever we left it, and then drive home. But it's like,
Nah.
I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
the way to do it where it's like it is fun to drive. Like I've been
Oh.
having a great time driving around with my friend Tristan.
I have figured it out. We can't ride together, but we get a CB radio. We each get a
Ooh,
CB
fun
radio.
names.
Yeah. And then we find lot lizards and like we get into some like scampy like little truck stop like crazy stories.
Sure.
God, that'd be so Tristan though, fan of your list material of that opening.
Yeah.
Good.
I he saw I did the times that I posted clips with it. He's like, yeah, no, I've seen those. But I was like, this is the larger plan for this thing. They're on board. We're doing the show tonight. I'm going to do it then. I think I'm going first.
Oh, so you're gonna bury him?
Yeah, that'll fucking show him.
This is what
I did a
happens when
show-
Glenn Tickle drives you across country.
Well, I did a show a couple weeks ago, and I was like filling in. It was like a last minute, like, hey, can you come do a feature spot? I was like, yep. And I just did a 20-minute set, ended on the Dan Huff thing, had a really good time, and then the headliner, it was when I was opening, I think I talked about it last time, I was opening for Joe Batteries. And he's like, he did a thing. I've done this before because I'm very good at comedy. I will do a feature set and have a great set, and then the headliner is just like, ugh, and it's like, Joe was like, I love it. I love it.
I agreed.
You did great.
Yes.
It was it was a fun challenge to be like, well, now I have to be good. It's like I can't just kind of get up there and like meander for 10 minutes. Like, nope, we're doing it. And that's what I had not worked with Joe before. I was like familiar with him as just another guy around Jersey doing shows. But it's like it genuinely made me really respect him to be like, excellent. Like, but other times, like when I was starting out, a lot of the times you get booked to open for people and it's like just some road dog who's been doing the same 45-minute set for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you go up and crush before them, they're like genuinely annoyed. It's like, yeah, I don't know, man, get better. But it was great because Joe like rose to the occasion. He's like, I know I am also good at comedy. So the fact that this guy I just met was also good isn't a problem for me, nor should it be.
So have we talked about this in depth, or have we brought this up?
I'm great at comedy. It's come up.
I believe I'm the one that instigates.
Yeah, I'm usually
that every time.
You can say it more.
The idea that like a headliner who I've watched, I will straight up say, and I wished I could remember the comedian that got bounced. I was emceeing early in my career. I'm not going to remember his name. I was emceeing at the Newport Levy Funny Bone probably around 2006, and Tommy Davidson was coming through from In Living Color, big In Living Color fan, and I was like, I want to MC that show if I can. And so they're like, yep. And Tommy Davidson proceeded to have a posse with him and spent a majority of the time in the green room being fine and nice to me, pleasant enough, but then proceeded to look at porn with his posse on a laptop, just like sports. Just like you would be like, oh, look at this. Oh, I didn't know they were that good at that. Huh, interesting. It was.
While you were saying that, I looked at my phone and I realized that we are, in fact, live. I just told our millions of listeners and live viewers where I'm staying for the next 24-ish hours.
Oh man, you are gonna have to
Oh.
beat them with a stick.
This place is gonna get mobbed with little daddios trying to get it.
Little
Little guy.
Lil daddios.
Lil apostrophe.
Yeah. Li apostrophe L or Lil apostrophe. It's not Li apostrophe L. Lil, because you're
know.
cutting out the TTE of little,
Yeah,
so it's
I don't know. We
Li
shouldn't do it.
apostrophe.
It's a thing that genuinely, like, when I would see it written like that as a kid, I would get so mad because it felt like you're being
Right?
tricked,
It felt correct,
you know?
and you felt stupid because you were wrong about something. The almighty Glenn
No.
Tickle
Either
had to
way, LIL,
suck
no
the dick of
apostrophe,
being
LIL
wrong. Yeah.
apostrophe L, LIL apostrophe, all of it irritates.
Glenn, I really wish you would have told me how you felt about Lil before I sold to Netflix Lil Daddios starring Lil Glenn Tickle and Lil Ricky Glore.
It's weird because we're babies, but we're also still dads.
Oh, yeah. And like our kids are
We're
even
just raising
smaller.
slightly older children.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking.
Oh.
I'm a baby. I
And
still have a
their
6
and their
12-year-old.
kids. Oh, don't even tempt me
Wait,
with a
I
great
actually
premise to
really-
a show.
Stop. I
That's
really like this.
amazing. Yes, we
gotta
should
pull
not
this
talk about
live
it
up.
anymore.
TM.
Yeah.
That is genuinely so funny.
That's
you and me as little babies,
brilliant.
but we have to still do dad stuff. We're like
Yeah.
in the booster seat, but driving the minivan.
Dude, I'm fucking on board. I already sold it to Netflix. Don't quit pitching me on why this is
Can you
brilliant.
picture a parent teacher conference? Teacher, 12-year-old, their little baby dad,
And
little tiny baby.
I had because we also do comedy. We also go on the road and do comedy. We just got back in time, but I hadn't eaten anything, so I got some Tornadoes from a local gas station that were questionably on there for a long amount of time.
Fill that diaper.
Ho! Someone shit during the parent-teacher conference, but I gotta act like it's not me. I'm like, you guys smell that? Like,
You. That's weird. Weird. It smells like.
is the
juices.
cafeteria near here? Is the cafeteria near this room?
I
You know what?
love
I
it.
should go check. And then I'm just waddling away with the biggest diaper.
I'm sold.
Oh, there's your next animated project, sir.
Yeah.
Lil Daddios.
Little daddios.
Oh my goodness. For our big fan base. We got
They're gonna love it.
we got
I don't know. People might be enjoying.
People might be into that.
Nasty,
I think-
dang ass freaks, as blank check pod we call them.
So to finish up my Tommy Davidson story was we did the Thursday because back in the day clubs used to do Thursday through Sunday, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday, and with the economy being awful like it has been, that they usually no longer do a Thursday and a Sunday anymore. It's just Fridays, Saturday. But so we got done. The feature act, I think his name was something, or you could look it up. Alex Mendoza or
Hang on.
Alex.
Stop talking.
Oh, I'm
Hang
sorry.
on.
What?
The one AirPod died. I had to drop the other one in and said it stopped recording. So I
Okay.
gotta make sure that we're still back in the habit. I don't want to waste all this great Alex Mendoza or whatever.
Well, let me look up his name. Hispanic comedian
That's not.
named Alex. Alec. That's. Oh no, Alex Raimundo. That's not him. But maybe.
Can
it
you
was
just look and see if
Alex.
we're still alive?
Oh yeah. On the YouTubes. Yeah.
Because it just keeps going to
Yeah.
last week's for me.
Yep. We are limited pop. Yep. We are still live.
Oh yeah.
What is bigger Hispanic comedian that used to be a firefighter?
Big Hispanic comedian who used to be a firefighter. Is it
I think.
you? That's
No,
only
I was.
you.
That was my little dad. That's an episode of Little Daddy-O.
Little Daddy-O's where we sign up to be volunteer firefighters?
Oh,
We're not
holy
good at
shit.
it because we're babies.
Your firefighter story would be hilarious as a little daddy-o plotline for you,
Which firefighter story?
where you go to the firehouse and they show the
And I
montage of all the
do a bad
crashes.
job. I've done a lot of. Oh, okay, yeah. Where they play
Yes.
All Star by Smash Mouth.
Yes. Fuck, maybe he's big Hispanic comedian. So of course Gabriel Iglesias pops up. Fuck. I wish I could remember any hoodles if
No, so
anybody
you can
figures it
remember.
out, or
I
if
wish you were
if
better at remembering stuff.
I know I'm the Booster Gold of remembering comedians that I worked with. Callbacks.
Hell yeah, we should be Ted Cord and Booster Gold in the DCU.
Which one would I be? Which one would you be?
Booster Gold.
You would be Booster Gold? Is
You're
it Booster Gold? Oh, okay, because I'm more whimsical and like flashy.
More athletic.
That's the only qualifier.
Well, I just want to be. It's less about you have to be Booster Gold. I really want to be Ted Cord.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So, whoever the featured comedian was, I'll figure it out between now and next episode that we do. But Thursday night show happens again. I'm an MC who's been getting paid to do stand up for only about a year, being a house MC at Newport and Living Funny Bone on rotation with some others. And like I said, Tommy Davidson, in this instance, kind of a dirtbag, looking at porn with all of his friends in the green room, and then talking about how one of the porn stars that they are watching is currently in Columbus, and after the show, they should all go up there and hook up with her. So real awkward for a 19-year-old or 20-year-old new comic. But so Thursday night show happens, and Alex, oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Like I can kind of, he's really funny. But so he comes off stage, and Tommy is just like, hey man, great job. He's like, thanks man, thanks. And he's like, you kill it too. And he's like, yeah. Tommy then turns to the GM and goes, I want him off the weekend.
Oh no. What a dirtbag.
Yeah. What a derp. I mean, just straight up to his face, just was like, oh man, you're awesome. And then the GM the next day or that night, the GM called him into the office. And like, I was there, I was hovering around, and who the comedian is I can't think of is just like, did I do something wrong? Did I say something offensive? Did a blah, 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 blah. And Rick, the GM at the time at the Funny Bone, was just like, no, like you were great. Just we've decided that it's going to be a 2-person show for the rest of the weekend, and that wasn't true because then they brought in somebody else, and so they paid him in full, and he was on his way. I felt, that was one of the times that I was just like, this doesn't make sense to me. If someone does really well, that should just make the show better.
Yeah. If I'm waiting to go up, right, and somebody before me is crushing it, I'm genuinely excited.
It's awesome.
It's like, yeah, then these people are gonna be so excited for comedy, and then I'm gonna ruin it by talking about Chess and Mr. T for half an hour. But it'll be fun.
Interestingly enough, Kim Sherwood and I have talked about this very thing of someone killing, and then just it's like a rock concert, right? Like the bands progressively get better, and they work the audience up in a frenzy, like they're Muppets. But there has been times where I've seen somebody go up and either they're not great or the audience isn't giving them much, and I might be like, ooh, this might be a little harder for me. But I've actually never been in a situation where I have known for sure that it was going to be a bad show. Like, even if somebody doesn't do well before me, I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're not great, or maybe they're just not the audience, they aren't their cup of tea. And I was like, so I'll go up and I'll do better. And then, there's plenty of times where then immediately proven wrong, and it doesn't matter. It's just not going to be a great show. But so I think someone crushing it before you go up or someone eating it before you go up, I think equally you could have just as good of a show.
Yeah, I think I know I'm good at comedy. I don't care how they do. You know,
I know I'm good at entertaining. I'm not the best at stand-up.
if someone really eats it before me, I'm not like, oh god, they brought the whole room down. Now they're not going to laugh at me. No, they will. I'm good at what I do. It'll be fine. It'll take a couple minutes to like really get the energy back up, but if I'm up there for 45 minutes to an hour, it's like, yeah, I have a couple of minutes to spend doing that. Actually, it's the same thing of the reason I like having an opener versus just driving solo, doing an hour by myself, is it takes a couple of minutes for the audience to go from like, we're all sitting around, we're all talking, we just ate dinner or whatever, the show's going to start, like we need a couple minutes to like, you're interrupting 50 conversations when the show starts.
Yes.
So the opener just makes that happen. It's colleges in particular, because students tend to be late for everything. So the show's supposed to start at 8. If I go up and start talking at 8 to 20 people, by 8:15 there's 100, but most of them haven't heard the first 10 minutes of my set, don't have the frame of reference for a lot of times the rest of the set of stuff I want to call back to or whatever.
Yeah, they don't understand the Booster Gold callbacks.
Yeah. So I will bring I'll bring an opener. It's like, hey, you just need I don't care. I don't care if you do good or not. I just need you to exist on stage for 10 minutes so that by the time I get up, there's actually an audience, right? I'm setting you up. I'm setting you up to fail in this context, right? I would love it if you just did a great job and you power through, but please know that I understand you are facing a harder audience, so that I face an easier one. But that's not like, oh, I'm gonna make my friend look bad so that I look great. It is
right.
The whole show for everyone goes better if someone else talks for 10 minutes and then brings me up on stage.
Focuses and sets the expectations of this is kind of what you're going to be doing for the next 90 minutes.
It's why hosting sucks and why I don't like doing it. So if you're doing a club and you're hosting, right, same thing. Everybody's talking, everybody's drinking, and the host is like, all right, guys, you got to settle down. We're going to do comedy. Yay. Oh, is it your birthday? Ooh, you got to make sure you order chicken wings.
Jalapeno poppers.
It's hard to like really crush as a host because you are doing admin work.
Yeah.
But it is why it's so easy to crush as a feature, where it's like, look, this other cat had been talking for 10 minutes. They are now ready for comedy. They really want to see the headliner. That's who they bought tickets to see. They will tolerate you for 20 minutes if you can do a good job. And when it goes well, they're like, we're genuinely like, not surprised, I guess is probably not the right word, but they're like, oh, this other comedian, we don't know nothing, but we've never seen this cat before. He's doing a pretty good job. This is like a nice bonus, but they're on board. The stakes are lower for you because you're not the one they're there to see. If you start doing a good job, they're genuinely thrilled.
And you're also, like a rock concert, you're this much closer to seeing either the headliner or the person that you came to see.
Yeah. And you're usually 20 to 30 minutes, so you're not doing a full hour.
Sweet spot.
So
yeah.
It's just like, yeah, all right, look, I know I'm going to do a couple minutes up front. Oh, isn't my name dumb? Ha, 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 ha. I'm going to end on the Dan Huff thing. I know that goes well.
Is that how you do comedy?
In and out. Ha.
Is that? Ha, ha, ha. So I'm looking at myself as I do when doing the Zooms, the two screens, and I've commented on this before. I think now today with my giant forehead with the light shining on it and my mustache and my stubble, I think I look like Count Orlok from the Robert Eggers Nosferatu right now.
Yeah, you need a much longer mustache.
I mean, it's getting.
Can you get your peen out real quick and we'll compare to Nosferatu's peen and see?
As if I were going to. So here, I have a question before I possibly tell a story. We were being very positive about that it's hard opening and stuff, and we want the shows to go well, and anybody who's like, oh, don't do too well, and blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned Tommy Davidson and that because I don't care. Um, should I tell you now, without saying their name, a a typical Ricky and Glenn being cynical and criticizing somebody else opener story, or do we keep it positive?
Let's
This is like a
criticize
choose your
people, baby.
okay. It's like a choose your own adventure. Like I
Yeah,
said, I'm not
know
going to
you said
say his
you
name.
I said you have a heart out, but
Yeah.
we can spend some time being petty. You know,
Okay. Okay.
we can end positive.
Okay. Yeah.
You have
Okay.
a
Let's.
positive jam, hold steady style.
Maybe I will be negative here, and then you can bring it back to
Do it, and then I'll
positivity.
say some nice things about Tristan because I like Tristan a lot.
Oh yeah. Again, there are plenty of openers, especially the ones like you were talking about. Like if you're my friend and we're gonna drive and we've spent hours in a car, eating questionable food and just hanging out, like
Mm-hmm.
a tree house that moves. That's
Well, that's yeah. Like I'm essentially opening for Tristan on this trip. It is genuinely. It's like I'm helping my friend move. We are just both comedians, so we're setting a show up to justify the trip a little bit. But yeah, it is. I would say like I'm not. I didn't bring Tristan along for this trip. Tristan is bringing me along. So it wasn't like, oh, I decided to bring my friend Tristan on this trip to Minnesota. He asked me if I would drive him here, and but if I was doing it, if I'm just coming out and I need
yeah.
someone to open, and I'm like, I have to drive for 2 days. Who am I gonna bring? Ugh, the list is so short. You're on that list, buddy.
Yay! I'm on the list. I made the
I
list.
drove further into Minnesota with my friend Jason Brown a couple of years ago. I like Jason Brown a lot, and it is like I bring Jason Aaliyah, who I bring up a lot.
Hey, you talk about
Jason's
all the
daughter.
time. Just marry her already.
I can't. I'm already married, and I'm
Oh,
interested in Aaliyah. She's just good at comedy, and I like driving with her. It is there is a baseline of competency that you need to hit before I would even consider bringing you as an opener.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly,
It's pretty low
I think
bar.
this person is going to do a good job at the show is so far below. Do I want to be in a car with this person?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Aaliyah's usually the first person I ask when it's like, oh, I'm driving from, because she lives pretty close to me. So it's like, I need to drive from New Jersey to either a different part of Jersey, somewhere deep into Pennsylvania, we're going down to Maryland or whatever. It's like, I can pick her up on the way. It's not like I don't go out of the way to get her. And it's like, yeah, she's going to have a good set. But the fact that she's someone that I like and will happily spend 4 hours in a car with is the bigger reason I keep asking her to do it rather than like, oh, she's great. She's so good at comedy. She is. I want to be clear. I think Aaliyah is great. But also, it's not like, oh, she's too good now. I don't want her upstaging me. It's like I would love it.
That's bananas.
I've known Aaliyah since she was a 10-year-old. She's my friend's daughter, who's just now a colleague, and I think that's great. When she goes up and crushes, and I've seen her do it, I have a sense of pride in my heart because my friend is doing so good. I'm so glad, and I'm never like, oh God, now I got to follow. How am I going to follow that? It's like, well, I'm going to follow it by also doing comedy well. It is. Yeah. That's the move here.
She did her show. You're going to do your show. And isn't it just a much better night if you both crush? And then the audience has that thing of like, hey, I just want to let you know, I know you're not the headliner, but I liked you the best. Like, I love that after a show.
To overhear someone tell Aaliyah that they liked her better than me, you know?
Do you not think that's ever happened to you?
I'm sure
Okay.
Oh,
because I have straight up heard it where there's been people with me.
Yeah.
I've been on both ends of it where I lean in if they're saying it to someone else. I'm like, yes, I also like whoever, just open for me. That's why I have them open for me, because I genuinely enjoy watching them perform. And like you said, as adults, we don't have, or I guess some people maybe differently do if you're into sports or just whatever, have friends. Like, so it's the closest thing for me to having like a friend as an adult is liking the person that you're going to spend 27 hours in a fucking car with.
Correct. It's nice. It's nice when that happens. I was gonna say something else and I don't remember what it is. I've been in a car for 2 days and it's
So here's my negative.
so goddamn early. It's an hour early. I always complain about doing this at 9 a.m. I'm doing this at 8 a.m. because I'm in a different time.
So I
Get
typically
petty, baby.
bring an opener for like what you said, the travel, blah blah blah. There was a show recently where I didn't book the opener. The one of the booking agencies that you use as well
Mm-hmm.
booked the opener. They're like, "Oh, we'll give you someone," and so like they know who I am, the booker. That agencies know who I am, and so then the person that they book to open for me, I think couldn't have been someone farther from who they should have put on it. But again, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't, like, go up there. I hope you do well. If you don't, okay. Or if you do great, like, doesn't matter. Be interesting. Be different. Now, I would hate it if it's just like, oh, this guy's name's Glicky Roar. And it's just like,
Glicky.
and it's like, oh, they kind of do the
Glicky
same
sucks.
show. So yeah, I don't
Glicky
want it
goes
to
up with
be
a dumb little ukulele. He does.
the ukulele's not
hate,
dumb.
I
You're dumb.
hate Glicky Roar.
Glicky Roar. I like diversity in either subject matter to some degree, or like if people come and see us, I'd be interested to see if we get any complaints that say that we're too,
It's just two middle-aged white dudes.
yeah, and just about being parents. Interested. I don't think they will. I think you and I are vastly different as performers, and I think you are a way better stand-up than I. So you should probably
that's
close.
I
That's
don't really think
I do. You should. You should. Like, again,
I
to
should
go
be
to-
better. I'm good.
No, you should think that because you are. Like, you are a vastly superior stand-up to me. Most people that I do stand-up with, that I have open for me, are better at stand-up than I am. Not
What
this.
if you got better?
Not this opener. Well, I'm trying to. I'm increasingly.
Try harder.
I
What are you
am
talking
trying to. I am constantly trying to work, and the only times I get down on myself are when I feel like I
Whoa.
didn't
I don't
as
need to
much.
hear about you going down on yourself, bud. This is a family-friendly show.
Welcome back to Lil Daddy-O's, the
Wow, I
episode
know
where
you-
they
I
go
know
down
you
on
lost the
themselves.
weight. I didn't realize they pulled a rib out while they were doing it.
I'm Marilyn Manson myself.
Hey, while you're in there, can you just the ones that don't call? Can you just pop a couple of those out so I can?
And can you make my
service?
Can you make my dong bigger?
Some of
So
the stuff you're taking out. Can you just,
yeah, just put it
move
in the
it.
dong.
just move it down a little bit?
Just take that rib, take that
Here, let me
bone,
show
and
you a
put it
picture
in my
of friend
bone.
Lens. Can you get me one of that?
Better comedian, better
This is
father,
kind of
better
annoying.
ingredients, better pizza,
Better
Papa
dong,
Glenn.
for sure. Look,
better dong.
I jokingly agreed with you that I'm a better stand-up comedian. I don't believe it in my heart. I would never say
No,
I'm a
no,
better
no,
dad
no,
than
no,
you.
no, no, no.
My
You
crack
are
is
a better
bigger.
comedian.
My crack
Look,
is bigger for sure. I got a big old
yes,
hog. I got
yes.
a big old thick boy.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
We were in a hot tub together. I know what you're working with.
Yeah,
You don't think I snuck a couple peeks while you were sleeping in that
We
hotel
share
room
a
in
hotel room.
Florida?
Yeah, I know a
Yeah,
hotel
yeah,
room.
yeah. I heard it when you got in the shower and a loud thud hit the floor. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "You okay?" And you're like, "More than okay."
I'm doing pretty good,
I'm
actually.
pretty fun. Chef's kiss was all around. But so this opener, you are a way better stand-up, and it's okay for you to
Oh,
think
then that opener? I don't even know who we're talking about. And yeah,
So
I
that-
would
so-
constantly say yes. I know.
My opener for this show recently, he comes into the venue wearing a hoodie and a backpack and
Cool.
a little late. And I'm like,
Ooh.
hey, I bet you are name of opener. Because he looks like if you
You got
bought
a hoodie and a backpack. You're
a Spirit Halloween costume, of stand-up comedian, white guy stand-up comedian. And so there's that. Talked to him a little bit, and I was like, "Has anybody ever told you you look like Mikey Day?" And he's like, from SNL, and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Sometimes I get Dane Cook, like hair spiky." Um, and I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you look like if Mikey Day and Dane Cook had a baby fused together.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's you." And so we're talking a little bit, fine small talk. And he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go put on my show shirt." And he goes to the bathroom and he comes back out without his hoodie and wearing a show shirt. So not only does he look like Mikey Day and Dane Cook had a baby, his show shirt is a t-shirt that looks like Dane Cook would wear, of like dull muted blue browns, like splatter paint, like one of those loud like early 2000s
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm
t-shirts.
not that familiar with Dinko's wardrobe other than
And maybe he doesn't wear it. It just
I don't
look. It
know.
just again. So this looks like he's cosplay. He looks like a Lifetime or a non-authorized biography movie of Dane Cook, and he's
Okay.
the actor playing Dane Cook. So then,
Can't wait to find out who this is.
yeah, I want to know if you know him. Goes up on stage. So this is where it gets dicey because the more specific I get about the material, I guess
Andrew
saying
Dice
already
Clay.
the look comparison probably would be too much already too, so I might as well. So their material as an opener, right, getting the attention of the audience. The opener, their first joke is, "Let me tell you about some other shows I've done." And it's like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to kind of shit on the audience and the material that he was saying. And so then he uses that to get into getting booked for a Girls Gone Wild show. And it's kind of an odd bit. And then as the set goes on, it's all about porn. And then it ends on another story about another show of opening for Ron Jeremy.
hmm
And fine. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think I don't know. I don't remember the name, but
Do you think I'm
the
giving away too much? God,
the
I don't want to
bit
be
sounds
known as a
familiar.
catty bitch. I don't want to be known as, and like we were just saying about like people like, but my dad and I talked about it because we saw the set.
Wouldn't it be great
Um,
if Dad's like he was incredible? You got to get on that dude's level. Start talking about
oh, my dad gave me some criticism on the way home. He's just
persuading
like,
young women to get their boobies out.
yeah. He's like, "I think you went a little too long on this joke here, that and there was a long stretch that wasn't funny." And I was like, "Fair enough, thank you." I was like, "Yes, I felt that too." Um, I also am able to read a room. Uh, but so then said comedian ends on the Ron Jeremy joke, and it's fine. But like as I was thinking about it, I was like, "So you told us two stories about going and doing shows:
hmm
the Girls Gone Wild show and the Ron Jeremy show. What jokes or stories did you tell at those shows?" Because it's weird that most of your 25-minute set is talking about going and doing these other shows. And the stories weren't like so monumental. Like, you know, how you sometimes have a closing story be like, "Man, you guys won't believe what happened at this one show." And that'll be a
Yeah,
longer thing. But when most of your set is comprised of talking about other shows that you've done, I was just like, did what was his material on those other shows?
I'm guilty of this as well. When I was putting the set list together for what became World Crime League, uh, I'm like, oh, a lot of this is this happened at another show.
Mm,
I start with the bit talking about doing all the virtual shows in the shed. I had one where I talk about a couple corporate gigs that I did that were surprises and why I think that sucked. And I took those ones out because it's like, yeah, it is. I don't want to just be telling this audience about
mm,
other shows that I've done. The shed one, I was like, I think this bit warrants the fact that it's like I don't love the general topic of like talking about a better or worse show.
Yes.
But the shed joke I really like. So I'm like, well, this
And it
one
also
fits in,
that
but I'm
brings
not
in
gonna do
COVID.
3 more of these, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and like there's a bigger narrative, but like also the booker who booked the agency who booked
Mhm.
this opener, the dude's set was just all about like being raunchy and very like, oh, can you believe it just said that? Like, let's talk about
Mhm.
porn search, like search history and blah 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 and all this and stuff. And the second show that we did, and so it's just then weird for me to go up because, like I said, if it's not a clean show, yeah, I'm fine. It'd be dirty, whatever. It's just an odd shift between the two. But the second show, he talked to the audience a bunch, did a bunch of
Mhm.
crowd work, but like got them, but it was all just to talk about more sex stuff.
Mhm.
And there was a 50th birthday party there, and it was a large portion of the audience. And I was just, I turned to my dad, I was like, huh, that's an interesting way to leave things for me to go up on stage. You just ostensibly burnt all of the crowd work for this 50th birthday, and not just like, let's say happy birthday so the headliner doesn't have to, like,
Mhm.
worked the room with some pretty raunchy, there was more moans and groans than laughter. And then I'm like,
Sure.
huh, I guess I'm not going to go up there and talk about my daughter in the first 5 minutes. So I was like, I'm going to bring the birthday boy up on stage and we're going to do a shot. Like I have to redirect and reconfigure. So it felt like I was the first comic up
Mhm.
because of how it was left. What do you think about that? And there's
I
a reason
think
why I like bringing my opener is because the hang, and I have a
I
better sense of what the show is.
yes. I would rather know who I'm working with than find out 10 minutes before the show starts. Um, and again, it's not like, oh, well, I need to approve the opener and make sure they're up to my level. But it's like the I the Allentown show I did a couple weeks ago that I talked about
Mm-hmm.
the night before the Super Bowl. The all of the openers on that show, and honestly, it was more of a showcase. Like they were not opening for me. We are all just on the show. I was closing it out, doing it
No.
slightly longer.
You do open mics, and everybody that's on the list before you, you're like, thanks. Let's give a big round of applause to my
My
openers
openers, yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
My 20 openers.
But other than the one guy that I met that night, it's all people that I've worked with before, and would say I am friendly with, if not friends.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, oh, I gotta work with this guy, but they're all dirtier than me
Mm-hmm.
by a lot. So they were going up, and not that they bombed or anything, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
pretty early on, it was clear that the audience wasn't super into the dirty stuff. The
Yes.
one, the one guy, Joe, he's a comic in Easton, Joe Ferrero. So I don't think this story is going to make him look bad. He realized,
Murdered.
like,
He
oh,
murdered a man and then
he's like,
came
the
into the
audience
comedy show.
doesn't like that I'm being very dirty.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people in that moment think, oh, I should do my clean stuff. He goes, I know that you guys don't like that I'm being dirty. So now I'm going to be even dirtier. And then it's like they thought that was funny. Like
Yeah.
they still were like a little uncomfortable because he did in fact get dirtier. But they're like, we like that this young man is like
Called it out.
really, he
Yeah.
called out how we're reacting and he just leaned into the skid. And it's like, great job, man. Like the set ended well because he wasn't like just ignoring it and being dirty. The other openers were also pretty dirty and like didn't do that. And then I go up and it's like, look, I can't be aw shucks golly gee.
Little
These
Daddy.
people, yeah, it's like I'm gonna do the jokes I was gonna do, but I'll swear at them a little bit,
Mhm.
because they're all drunk.
Fuck!
The night before,
Just
the night
holding the
before Super Bowl.
microphone. Yeah.
But it does. It's not like, oh man, it's so much harder for me, a little clean, a polite boy, to go up because everybody was talking about poo poo pee pee for too long.
Poo-poo.
It's like, no, I had to kind of course correct. It was like, okay, the openers have all been pretty dirty. The audience is kind of like clearly not responding to it, but that's the tone of the show now.
Mhm.
So it's not. I'm not going to go up and be like, "So I'm railing this broad, right?" And it's like, well, no. It's just here's a joke. I'm just going to say fuck sometimes because what you were, in a bar in Allentown.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like, oh, I can't believe those openers were so filthy on a Glenn Tickle show. It's just like, yeah, I don't know if I've worked, like I said, I've worked with those guys before. Happy to work with them again. And it's just like, if I'm booking a lineup of like, who do I think goes well total as a show, But it's like I said, that was just a showcase, so you're gonna see different kinds of acts, and that's fine.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I have also done shows where like somebody shows up and it's like, we do not need to work together again. We do not vibe.
Yeah,
and
I just didn't think it made for the best show. I mean, the only things people feel about, whatever, people have their opinions about me, people have their opinions about you. Everybody else's opinion is that Glenn Tickle's a way better stand-up comedian than Ricky is.
Way bigger.
Just the massive dong, King Dong. But I just sat there and just the whole time, like, I get sometimes something might not be your cup of tea, but I just sat there and I was just like, why?
Well,
Like,
I think the difference is this cat, it sounds like he was just bad at doing stand-up comedy. Whereas Joe and the other openers on that show are not bad at doing stand-up comedy. They were just doing a different kind of stand-up comedy than I typically do. Like, they are telling jokes that work, but are like a little dirtier than the audience would maybe want them to be.
mhm.
But they're not. The audience is still recognizing these are jokes. I understand the joke you were talking about. It would be great if this was not the 5th anal sex joke in a row.
It would be great. Look,
hey, any one of these is fine, bud. But it's just there've been a lot of them, and we would love it if you could switch it up. And then Joe's like, actually, no. And, like in the back watching it, I was like, that's a funny move, Joe. And but it was great because during Joe's set, I went to the bathroom and I was walking back, and while he's talking about anal, I locked eyes with like an 80-year-old black woman sitting in the audience who's like clearly not into it and kind of like looking around for help. And you just lock eyes with a stranger while your friend's like, so anal, right? And it's like, so when I went up, I told that story and I'm like, remember when I was walking back from the bathroom?
Great. That's a great.
It's like, so now anytime that topic comes up, I'm gonna picture your face, and it was fun. I had a wonderful time doing that show, but it's like, yeah, it's not like, oh God,
Yeah.
Joe sucks at doing comedy. The crowd was like a little uncomfortable with the material, but still enjoying a comedy show. It sounds like your guy.
My guy.
Your best friend? You said you loved this man and kissed
It was
him
my
on the mouth?
dad. It was my dad.
your
I
dad
put him on
opened for you.
stage, and he was
Full of
filthy.
Buddy's Pizza, and just really got down to the nitty gritty of butt stuff.
but
Steve.
yeah, I don't necessarily want to work with someone like that. It's hard because we got to experience some bad stand up in Florida together at that circus open mic.
I couldn't begin to imagine what you're talking about. I had a wonderful time and enjoyed everyone's very good and well constructed comedy set. I love how seriously they took the craft,
Yes.
That's what I loved about it. Genuinely, if any of them are watching or ever hear this, I did enjoy some of the sets. I will not say
Yes.
whose I enjoyed and whose I
No.
didn't, because I don't remember any of your names.
No. There was
But
there
the
was
one
a
lady,
couple
you're very
people.
bad.
Yes, the one
who
lady.
did such a bad job. It was genuinely uncomfortable.
They were two dudes. There were these two old
Please
dudes
consider
who were
a
buying
different art form.
her drinks at the bar and didn't know that stand up was about ready to happen in that bar.
Yeah.
Two, when she got brought up, they didn't know that she was on the show and a stand up. They were just two old gross men hitting on this young woman, or not young.
Youngish.
Yeah, yeah.
I think younger than us, but
Look, trying to.
year or
Ooh,
two.
no. I think 10 years, possibly closer to 10 years older than us, but with some work. Any
Some
hoodles.
of the parts were younger than us.
Yes. Some of them have not been test driven. She goes up, and the old men are like, you do comedy?" And she's like, "I'm gonna try," and blah, like make a joke, whatever. Before we all realize how awful she was. She was so bad. These old men who had been buying her drinks and who were definitely way too drunk and inebriated were like, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
She was so bad they didn't want to have sex with her anymore, and they wanted to drive drunk.
The one dude straight up left.
It was awesome, and the other dude loved your A-Team joke.
Yeah. Can you imagine? You're a 60-year-old man at a bar in Florida, right? This woman walks in, pretty attractive woman. You're like, I'm gonna shoot my shot, right? I'm gonna buy this girl some drinks. We're gonna chat her up. We're gonna have a great time.
They've been talking for like an hour.
Yeah, it wasn't like they've been interacting quite heavily.
Yeah. And the topic of what are you here for? To get picked up by a 60-year-old man who's shooting a shot? Not I'm here for the comedy show that's in an hour. The fact that when she got caught up, it was a surprise.
Yeah, she's going along, chatting these guys up, gets introduced, starts doing, I guess it counts as comedy. And the one guy's like, actually, not only am I not going to pursue this physical relationship further, I'm just going to go.
I think the joke we made was that he didn't want to go home to his wife and family. He actually did go somewhere else to drink more.
Just went to a second bar to just really,
really drink that. But yeah, okay. So, but the thing is about the opener that I was talking about before, and then this woman in Florida. I think again, this is all a matter of taste. People have their own fucking opinions about me, so I'm sure someone has said this about me. They are delusional. There's people who aren't maybe your cup of tea, or who you don't find funny, or who you think are bad, I think. But then there are people who are not good, but so incredibly delusional that like they pause and like the timbre of their voice and everything. They're like, "I'm doing comedy. And isn't that funny?" Like that. And you're just like, fuck, are you hearing laughter in your head? Like
you simply must be a little delusional to do this.
100%.
But you should be self-aware enough to realize how it's going, you know? And it's that Ira Glass quote, the thing about having taste. Do you know what I'm talking about? Ira Glass.
Yeah.
Host of This American Life, for listeners who might not be familiar with it. In an interview, he's talking about how when you start pursuing any creative work, you have taste, right? Like, you know what you like in that area. So we'll use comedy since that's what we do. If you want to do stand-up comedy, it's because you enjoy stand-up comedy. You know what you think is good stand-up comedy. But when you start writing jokes and performing, you're not doing a very good job. That's fine. You're new. You're learning how to do it. But you still have taste. So you should understand that you're not doing a good job, and it probably bothers you. And that's what makes a lot of people bail on stuff where, you know, it's like, oh, I love comic books. I want to draw comic books. You try to draw a comic book and it sucks. And it's like, well, I'm bad at drawing comic books. All right, I give up. Because you want it to look better than it is, or you want your jokes to be funnier than they are, but you've only been doing this for a couple months. So like,
but who is, but where are they getting that confidence and that validation that they act like they have? Is it purely in their head, or do they
Well, that's the
do
thing.
have a
And
couple
so I
friends,
think
or one person one time was just like, oh my God, you should do stand up?
I think the reasonable thing is when you are starting out, you understand that you're you're new at this. It's not going to be easy right away. If you stick with it, you will get better. That is the reasonable take. Some people realize like it's actually going to take me a lot more work than I'm willing to put into this, so I think I'm going to tap out, which is fine. Some people do not have the self awareness to be like, this is actually not going well. But I think it is because they also don't actually have good taste. Like the Ira Glass quote
Mhm.
focuses so heavily on like, look, you have killer taste. That is why you want to do this. I don't think that's actually true for everybody, Ira. A lot of people who try to do stand-up comedy have awful taste in stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what they are trying to replicate, it's just going to be
They're
bad
nailed.
also.
Well, but no, but I think where the quote works is that it is correct in that instance too, where they have bad taste. So they
If
also
your
are.
taste in comedy is Andrew Dice Clay,
I'm
and
interested.
you
If you are younger and you like, if you're a 25-year-old dude, girl, I mean, probably 25-year-old girl would be amazing. She's just like number
I
one,
love
Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice
I'm just
Clay.
like, I cannot wait to see your set.
Yeah, if your taste in comedy is Andrew Dice Clay, yeah, I don't know. Think of some dirty nursery rhymes, whatever. Just scream your favorite slurs. It's easy to replicate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I, it's not going to be good, you know. And but I think for some people, it is you lack the self awareness to realize you're not doing well, so you just keep doing it. But you need that to pursue any creative field. Like
Mm-hmm.
the thing that we hear from a lot of in a lot of interviews with comedians, like, oh, I did my first open mic and it went well, and then it didn't go well again for like 2 years. But that first time doing
You
good
chased it, yeah.
keeps you in it, and I think that's the reason you keep hearing that story is because it's like I did well once. I just got to figure out what I did that night that I didn't do this night. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
I was there. People laughed the first time I did it, so I just got to keep figuring out what I did. It is wild when people never do good and then they just keep doing it.
So, and then she ended up bouncing early, which was awesome, and like kind of like being loud about like leaving early before the show was done. And I was just like, oh, I was like, that is awesome. Um, so this dude, the opener I was talking about, then had the gall to say that the venue basically kind of sucked. Like afterwards, not to the audience, like wasn't conducive for comedy. And he's like, I'm used to doing
Was this
comedy
the guy who
clubs.
opened for you or for the
For
Florida bar
for
show?
me, no, not
Oh,
Florida
okay.
Bar Show, not that lady.
Well, because
For,
that was not set up, but it was
no,
also
no.
a bar open
It
mic,
was
so
it was an
that's what
ambush
you did.
bar. Yeah,
Yeah.
ambush bar show at a bar that still allowed smoking. Um, so
Oh, Florida.
no, so this guy's just like, yeah, you know what? Usually lighting's better. I'm used to doing shows in comedy clubs. I work at this
I
comedy
hate
club.
that.
And I was just like, okay, your set makes a little bit more sense now. Cause like I remember being a little dirty and not talking about really anything personal
Hmm.
when I was first starting off. But this person's 5 years older than me. I don't know how long they've done comedy, but this opener, I was like, oh yeah, I could see you as an MC. Where it's
Hmm.
like if you get a couple Snickers, like the MC slot, it's kind of hard to do well. Like you can do it
Sure.
well, but to like have like a killer set that like you're putting on tape because of everything, all the admin stuff that we mentioned, it's hard. But then like when he said that, I was just like, yeah, there's your validation, and that's why you keep on getting paid because you have a stage presence of something.
Hmm.
Early like 2005 Dane Cook stage presence and vibe, and that dirty material probably does get a better response in a comedy club as an
Probably.
MC.
But I mean, that's part of the gig, man. You got to figure out the room that you're in, not
Oh,
the
and
one
then
that you want to be in. You
I
know?
forgot to mention that I have also been wearing suits. I think I mentioned
I've
last
worn
time
this
that new
sweater on almost
15
every show I've
days.
done this year.
Yeah, you haven't washed
Never
it.
washed it. No,
Yeah.
just it's like.
And
a
you
Lucky
talk
Daisy
about someone
before.
having a cat being stinky. You garbage man.
Roland,
But
you're not stinky. You're the sweetest little cat, and I love you.
so
I love your little bow tie. I can't wait to pet you later today.
I brought up last time that it's part of my new opener that I like is wearing a suit and commenting on it. Someone at a show is just like, "You guys have suits in Kentucky,"
Yeah.
and then it
Are we
goes
wearing
on
suits
longer.
for the Daddy-O tour, you think?
Oh yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Oh, I'm wearing suits. I might even get a new suit. I might
Should
even
get
get a
matching
zoot suit.
We get matching suits.
Yes.
I did that for my friend's wedding. And
Little Daddy-O's.
it's great.
Um,
Because he didn't
but
have
so
like a big wedding party. It was me and him. I was his best man. We got matching suits, and I wear it regular. It's like if I have to wear a suit.
wait, like not like Dumb and Dumber though. Not
No,
like
like nice.
Nice suits.
I'm
Okay,
not
good,
doing
good,
Dumb
good.
and Dumber suits, but I like
Yeah.
the idea of.
Oh yeah, it's what the whole thing with the shaker and the whole Rat Pack vibe I was always wanting to have with Daddy-O.
Yeah. I know I talked last week extensively about people can fuck off if they tell me how to dress, but I like the idea.
Oh, I'm not gonna tell you.
I like the
I
idea
will.
of you and me dressing.
But so I forgot to mention before that when he's like, I gotta put my show shirt on, and then it's the hoodie came off, but then it was this Dane Cook looking like tight shirt. I was just like, oh, I've got to go put my show outfit on too. It's a suit and tie. You look like a 22-year-old man child.
Yeah, I brought a friend of mine. I don't. I might say it. I was doing a corporate gig in Philadelphia for a company that does like training for coaches for youth sports.
Okay. Interesting
for
company,
some
but I
reason
guess that they have to
booked-
exist.
Yeah, for some reason they booked me, and they're like, "It would be great if you could do some jokes about sports." And I was like, "Yeah, they probably would be, but I
Chess,
can't."
yeah.
So here's what I'll do. I'll bring an opener. I'll bring a friend of mine. I will ask them to do some sports stuff.
Hmm.
I do a lot of jokes about my kids. My kids play sports, so like, I'm not trying to back out of the gig. It's like I'll talk. My daughter plays soccer. I'll talk about that, but I don't know the rules. I don't know, So I brought my friend. I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this gig for this sports company. Can you come and talk about some sports stuff?" I pick him up. He's in shorts and a t-shirt. He's got a backpack, and I'm like, this was a well-paying. This is a gig that paid me well enough to be like, all right, suit. I got a suit. He's got shorts and a t-shirt. He's like, don't worry, I got to change of clothes because he saw the look on my face. Don't worry, got to change of clothes in the bag. But like, okay. I've worked with you well over a decade.
Don't
You're
fuck me.
I trust you. I'm not gonna be like, let me see what you packed. I was like, okay, yeah. We get down to Philly. He's like, I'm gonna go change. Puts on a different T-shirt and a different pair of shorts. I was like,
fucking
Tyler, you mother.
Did he do that as a bit though?
I don't think so.
Or he thought that the other shorts and shirt were nicer than the shorts and shirts.
They were, to be fair.
Okay.
To be fair,
they were diamond
They were.
encrusted. Yeah.
it was a noticeable upgrade. But everyone sues. Like this was like their gala event for the year. So that's why I was like, all right, I understand the assignment. I'm suiting up. But I didn't. To be fair, I wasn't like, hey,
You should
wear a
dress up.
suit. I did say it is a corporate event. It is like they're like dressed nice. I probably said dress nice.
Dress
like,
nice.
I will get my finest cargo shorts for you, friend.
I will go to
be
the
fair,
Walmart.
He is a very good comedian. He has a pretty good sense of
His persona.
his character on stage.
Yeah.
He is kind of a dirtbag who would roll up to your corporate gig in shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah.
And did well. Like the crowd loved him. He's very good at comedy. So it's not like, oh, I'm never booking you again, Tyler Rothrock. I will book you again in a heartbeat, buddy. You're one of my favorite comedians.
You will just be clearer
It's just I
if you
probably
feel
won't.
that they need to be Yeah,
Yes,
a
yes,
little
yes,
bit
yes.
more.
I will
Yeah.
either not book you for a corporate gig where I need you to wear a suit, or I will tell you, motherfucker, put a suit on, or do not come.
Or you ain't invited.
Yeah. But
Did
again,
you
it's
have?
like same thing. To be fair, I was not paying him enough to
Yes.
my point from
You
last
were
week was
getting
like,
paid enough. Yeah.
yes, 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 yes.
Do you have anything positive? I mean, I feel like the Tyler story was more positive than my
Tyler's so
railing,
I am
because
throwing
that's
him under
funny.
the bus a little bit, but Tyler's a guy that I've known almost literally the whole time I've been doing comedy. Is great. I we are friends. I don't feel bad taking a dig at him.
It also helps. He's funny.
He is fun, right? If he
Yeah.
went up and bombed in shorts, that is
Yeah.
different. That is a different.
Yes.
But also, if it wasn't same thing, like I asked him, it's like, look, I know Tyler knows sports things. He does. He's got jokes about golf, right? Like I booked him for the gig
You did
specifically.
you had a request and you're like, I'm not going to be able to do that, but to ensure
Yeah.
that your request is met, I professionally will make
Yes, yes, yes. They're
will.
like, oh, we would like some sports stuff. And it's like, well, I'll bring my friend who can talk about sports. I will talk a little bit about sports because my kids play them. But I will also talk about how I don't know sport. I made some comparison to like D&D and fantasy sports, like fairly hacky premise, I guess. But it's like, this will crush ass here.
What
Like,
about D's
it's not going to be on the next
what about
hour.
D sports?
D's nuts.
Oh, you could have bought those balls, you know what I'm saying?
What about D's?
So let's finish on something short and positive. Is there anything short and positive? My penis. Oh, and we're out. And we're out. Oh, oh. The Cubs win the World Series. The Cubs win the World Series.
Down goes crazy.
Callback. Callback. Why can't I do this on stage? Why can't I when people are paying me?
Like I said,
Be
I mean,
able.
I'm here in Winona, Minnesota, with my friend Tristan Miller, who I love getting to do shows with. They are about to move to New Zealand, so part of the reason I jumped at the chance to drive my friend halfway across the country is like, I'm not gonna see my friend for a while, if
Yeah.
potentially ever again. Want to spend time with my friend before they go.
One of my wife's best friends, who's in her wedding party, one of her bridesmaids, has lived in New Zealand since just after college, and so yeah, I have a friend who I'm going to be seeing for lunch today, Danny Johns, who lives in
DJ?
Hawaii, DJ, and he's in town. Last time I saw him was a year and a half ago at my diaper party when he graciously
Where you
flew
really
in
because you ate
for
all
like
those tornadoes.
for
Call
3
back.
days.
Woo,
Call
I'm
back.
thinking.
Wait, that's the poster. That's the Daddy-O Show poster. It's just like you and I in a roller coaster. Whee! In our suits.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's a cool.
We do have to. The first leg of this when we are together, get some promo shots.
Yes. Well, we also should, for these theaters, bring some cameras to pop down for some clippage.
Yeah.
So then when we sell it to Netflix.
But I am genuinely thrilled to be doing a show with Tristan tonight. I will miss my friend when they move to New Zealand. But it's a thing. It's like, well, yeah, like maybe I'll go visit. I don't know. I might not ever go to New
It's
Zealand in my life.
expensive. Yeah.
But there's comedy festivals and venues down there. Like that's how I
Book
got
the
myself to
Daddy-O.
Hungary last
Book
year.
the Daddy-O. My wife's friend is there, so if we got booked in New Zealand, you bet your bippy.
Two whole people would come.
Well, that's my wife would come though too because she doesn't get to ever see her fucking friend
Yeah.
except through FaceTime, which it's nice we have FaceTime, FaceTime
It is
and
nice to have
Zoom,
face to talk.
Yeah. like right now,
That's good.
like what we
Yeah.
do every week, once a week on the
Right, I'm
Daddy-O
not
Show.
driving to Kentucky to do this bullshit. But
Sorry, I was trying to give the outro snippet on the Daddy-O Show.
boom.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you rolled with it there because I do have
Yeah.
to pee as well.
I have to poop so hard. I did right before, and I got to do it again because I've been driving for 2 days, and when I drive
Yeah.
for a really long time, it's hard to do pee.
So, did you stop recording?
Yeah.
It says recording still on my end.
Oh, I thought I did. Nope. Oh, good. I'm glad that'll be on the live.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. So can you guess who the comedian was? Oh, did you see before that, did you see the woman we were talking about who was definitely like 48 years old, the Puerto Rican or whatever woman, that she was on Kill Tony?
I did not see that.
I'll have to send it to you.
I bet it went so good.
Oh, I did not watch whole thing because I do not like having to cringe